Is Apple's spring event going to have a huge iPhone surprise? We are just days away from Apple's very first event of the year, and according to all the leaks, it looks like this event is going to be full of lots of good news, well, and also some bad news too. So let's break down absolutely everything you need to know about this March event happening very soon. Here are all the last minute leaks, all the rumors, here's what's going to be announced, and also here are a couple of reasons to get very excited, and also why you might want to lower your expectations, because you might just be super bored. Now, Apple has done a number of different spring events over the years, with some, let's just say, being better than others. I'm looking at you, Big Bird. That was a weird event. But all jokes aside, Apple's last spring event in 2021 was a really big deal. It lived up to the hype. Spring Loaded was jam-packed. It gave us that all-new redesigned iMac, the purple iPhone, the new Apple TV with the new remote, most importantly, and an all-new iPad Pro, and of course, last but not least, the long-awaited reveal of AirTags. Last year's spring event was just phenomenal, and there are a lot of questions this year on what the spring event for 2022 is going to look like. Is it going to live up to the hype? Is it going to be super jam-packed and super exciting? Or is it going to be, well, kind of a dud? And I don't make that statement lightly. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from watching or make anybody be disappointed, but it's going to be a little bit of a peculiar event because of some recent issues with the supply chain and some behind the scenes shifting of products at Apple. There are some products being announced here that will be exciting for some of you, but for many of you looking for a brand new redesigned Mac, or if you're really holding out hope for a new iPad Pro, well, you're gonna have to wait just a little bit longer, maybe a lot longer. Case in point here is with the all-new iPad Air. Now, yes, it's wonderful to see the iPad Air get some love. It's supposed to get the new, more modern A15 processor inside. It's gonna get 5G capabilities and center stage tech for that front-facing selfie camera. But that's about it. No significant design change, no screen tech change. It's more of an S year for the iPad Air. Some nice under the hood improvements, but that's about it. It's also the same story for the iPhone SE, what's also supposed to be a big part of that event. The iPhone SE 3 is not getting a major overhaul, no big redesign, no hole punch cutout or Touch ID in the power button. It's gonna be sort of the same old. Same design, same screen size, same Touch ID, but like the iPad Air, it should be getting 5G capabilities and also the newer A15 processor under the hood. And I'm not trying to knock either of those products. The iPad Air is a phenomenal tablet that offers a whole lot of value for the dollar, and even more so for the iPhone SE, with many carriers sort of giving the phone away if you're willing to sign like a 2 or 3 year contract. You can get a really fantastic iPhone that's, still relatively modern, but with those products out of the way, maybe that's 10, 15, 20 minutes of the event. What else is Apple going to fill 40 minutes of this virtual event with? What else could we really see, and is there anything else really here to get excited about? What's looking more and more likely as a big part of this spring event is the introduction of the M2 processor. This is the successor to Apple's very first Mac silicon chip, the M1, and this chip should be more powerful, it should be more efficient, and should be a good successor to the wildly popular and wildly successful M1 chip. And that's all great and all. We're very excited to see that, and I'm sure Apple will dive deep into the specifics on exactly how much better it is and so on and so forth. But one of the big questions many had was, what would be the first M2 Mac to launch with this new M2 chip? One of the longest standing rumors that was going to be sort of a big part of the spring event was this all new, radically redesigned MacBook Air. We're talking all new design here, new color options. We're talking a white accent color on the inside by the display and the keyboard, a new webcam, a notch, mini LED display, MagSafe, and the M2 processor inside to make this a really compelling computer, especially for the price. The only problem is that the MacBook Air is in development, and it seemingly is coming sometime this year, but according to the sort of recent reports we've heard, the MacBook Air is going to be delayed just a bit until maybe May or June, if not a release sometime in the fall. So this is looking like it is not going to be a part of the spring event, so it will not be the first Mac to launch with the M2 processor. But according to leaks and rumors, it looks like Apple is going to introduce a new laptop with the M2 processor at the spring event, and it's probably going to look something like this. Yes, this is going to be a successor to the base level, entry level 13-inch MacBook Pro. We're talking the same design, we're talking the same keyboard, maybe even the touch bar is sticking around on this machine, and instead of the M1 version that we currently have, there will just be the M2 chip inside, which again will make it more powerful, more efficient. You sort of get the idea. Now this is sort of disappointing for many who are hoping for a more exciting M2 laptop to launch at this event. And yes, like I said, the MacBook Air is coming, but it looks like this base entry-level MacBook Pro is going to be the only M2 laptop we see at this event. So if you sort of had high hopes and high expectations for the MacBook Air, doesn't look like that's going to happen, at least as of what we know right now, I'm sorry to say. But there might just be some saving grace after all, and Apple actually might introduce a really cool M2 Mac at this event that is one that you might not be expecting, and that is this, an all-new redesigned Mac Mini. Like the MacBook Air, the Mac Mini is also supposed to be getting some love finally this year with an all-new design on the outside, a great selection of ports on the back, and maybe even some new color options and a new two-tone industrial design on the outside as well. And the more we sort of hear leaks and rumors on the spring event, the more it looks like a new Mac Mini is actually going to happen. And it's not just going to be a Mac Mini, but maybe two Mac Minis, maybe a consumer entry-level M2 Mac Mini, great for home and office use and educational settings and stuff like that, and maybe a Mac Mini Pro, or a Pro tier that has options for either the M1 Pro or M1 Max inside. There's also been some speculation that Apple could sort of update the entry-level 24-inch iMac with an M2 processor as well. Maybe that wouldn't really get any stage time, so to speak, but Apple would just do that on the website after the event. But as of right now, that looks like it's likely going to be the lineup at the spring event. A new redesigned Mac Mini with new Apple Silicon inside, a new entry-level M2 MacBook Pro, and that's it. A new iPad Pro is coming, as well as a radically redesigned iMac Pro with an M1 Pro or M1 Max inside, 27-inch mini LED display, ProMotion. Those products are coming, but they look like they're gonna be coming later on this year. Maybe it's a May-June launch around WWDC, maybe it's something in the fall, but according to what we know right now, those do not look likely to be coming at the spring event. So looks like the Mac lineup for March 8th is gonna not include any of those flashier, more exciting Apple Silicon Macs. All right, so with the predictable stuff out of the way, what else could we see at the very end of the event? What could be the one more thing? What could be the big surprise that shocks us all? What could Apple introduce that none of us saw coming? Well, one theory could be the iPhone 14. Could this come at the spring event? Well, no. I would venture to guess there is a 99% chance that this is not coming at the spring event. We see no mention of this, no leaks, no little nods to it in any direction. The iPhone 14 is still in various stages of development. Apple actually was rumored to just finalize the design of the iPhone 14 lineup with limited production, or at least trial production, supposed to start sometime soon. So the iPhone 14 is in development, but those phones always launch in the fall. This is more of an event for some of Apple's, I don't want to say they're lesser exciting products, but more the consumer stuff. The iPad Air, the iPhone SE, the Mac Mini, the products that definitely deserve some love that always haven't gotten the spotlight, so to speak. Those are going to get an update, while the iPhone 14 and seemingly the iPad Pro, the iMac Pro, and even the Mac Pro, these other bigger Apple products, look to be launching sometime later in the summer, or more likely later in the fall. So the iPhone 14 is coming in 2022, but it is not going to come at the spring event, unless Tim Cook has a real big surprise up his sleeve. Of course, Apple's still working on that AR, VR mixed reality headset that we should hopefully see sometime later this year, but probably not at this event. But if I just had to sort of put on my tinfoil hat for a minute and think of one product that could make a surprise appearance and that would sort of make sense, maybe, just maybe, it is this rumored lower cost Apple display. And I guess it could make an appearance at the spring event. Maybe it'd be a great pairing for the Mac Mini, though I do think, sort of looking at it objectively, it's more of a professional product and a professional accessory that maybe makes more sense to debut alongside the iMac Pro or the new Apple Silicon Mac Pro. Would be obviously great to see with the Mac Mini, and maybe we could see it. That's sort of my wild card theory for this one, but I don't think it's gonna happen, as much as my heart breaks for that, and I would love to see it happen. It's probably not gonna happen. So what are your thoughts on this spring Apple event? Are you excited to see this new iPhone SE version 3, the new iPad Air, and the Mac Mini? Are you a fan of the Mac Mini? Are you excited to see what should be coming very soon? Or are you a little disappointed? There has been a lot of hype around Apple products in 2022. Obviously, Apple has their hands full with lots of new things coming this year, but it looks like a lot of these major announcements are going to be coming later on in the summer or in the fall, probably not happening anytime in the spring, I'm sorry to say. So what are your thoughts on the event as it stands right now? Are you going to watch it? Are you going to pick up one of these new products? Are you excited to see this? Or are you just a bit disappointed and a bit let down that the MacBook Air was delayed? Let me know your thoughts down below on this spring Apple event. If you're going to be watching, what you're going to pick up, all that stuff. Let me know your thoughts as always down in the comments below. As always as well, thank you guys so much for watching. I sincerely appreciate it. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I will see you all in the next one.